How does the Singapore Parliament pass laws? What is a motion? What is a supermajority? My name is Chong Yan, and I am a political scientist. If you are interested in how members of parliament do their legislative work, here's a quick primer. The primary reason democratic political systems, or those aspiring to be democracies, have legislators, also called lawmakers or representatives, is to make laws. These laws determine how a government administration and state agencies act, that is, the executive branch, how they can act, what they can and cannot do, as well as how much money they can spend and collect, and from where. Laws also determine what regular people like you and I can and cannot do. The courts, or judicial branch, independently interprets these laws when disputes arise. In Singapore, our legislature, or the place where lawmakers make laws in full view of the public, not in some backroom deal, is called the Parliament. Our legislators are members of Parliament, or MPs. They may be voted into office to be responsible for a range of functions, including constituency work, but their primary function is making laws. That means voting on, amending, and repealing laws. MPs are supposed to reflect the range of views voters have, not just by race, religion, or gender, and to make sure that these different views get due consideration in lawmaking. This is in the spirit and principle behind representative political systems and a way to avoid the tyranny of the majority. Ruling party MPs generally represent the majority of voters, while opposition MPs, including non-constituency MPs, represent minority voters. Nominated MPs presumably represent other views. How does this work? Usually, the administration introduces a draft law or a bill to Parliament, which is called a first reading. In a subsequent sitting of Parliament, called a second reading, MPs publicly debate the principles and merits and substance of the bill, along with any amendments that an MP may propose. The bill is then brought to a vote in Parliament. A normal bill will pass with a simple majority. It then goes for a third reading where MPs can introduce minor edits or changes before going to a simple majority vote again. Unlike other legislatures, bills in Singapore do not need to pass a specialized legislative committee before first going to the full Parliament. Once it passes the third reading, a bill goes to the President and Presidential Council for Minority Rights. The PCMR determines whether a law is preferential or discriminatory towards an ethnic group. If so, they can ask Parliament to reconsider the bill and make amendments. If not, the bill can go to the President for assent within the time stipulated by Parliament when passing the bill. Once the President assents, the bill becomes an Act of Parliament, or a formal law. It enters into force once published in the Government Gazette. Bills can go through different channels to become law. If the Speaker of Parliament determines that a bill may affect individual rights and interests, it can be referred to a select committee. Individual citizens and groups can make a case that a bill affects their interests by formally petitioning Parliament. Any MP can carry that petition on behalf of citizens. If a bill moves to a select committee, the committee can ask for representations from the individuals or groups providing the petition and seek other advice they wish to consider. Once the select committee is done with its work, it submits a report to Parliament suggesting how to proceed, including how to amend the bill if necessary. A bill that goes through this process is called a hybrid bill. Individual MPs can submit bills. These are called private members' bills. They have to go through a select committee. A private bill is otherwise subject to the same processes as a regular bill, including voting, review by the PCMR, assent by the President, and finally, publication in the Gazette. Note that bills can also be withdrawn. There is a special case for constitutional amendments. Rather than a simple majority to pass, it requires a two-thirds supermajority of MPs in Parliament, excluding NMPs. Motions provide a sense of Parliament. They can be simple statements to vote on a law or to call for recess. They can also be more substantive statements of position, such as a full motion, or slightly less extensive statements made at the closure of a sitting, called an adjournment motion. A full motion is debated and voted on by Parliament. MPs can propose amendments that are also voted on. A motion can be defeated if it does not receive majority vote from MPs. Adjournment motions have replies from a minister, usually the one in charge of the ministry or agency whose work is most directly relevant to the motion in question. Voting usually takes place by voice, although any MP can ask for a division where every vote is officially recorded. Everything from the budget to the GST increases to laws such as POFMA, FICA, and the repeal of Article 377A, as well as constitutional amendments to the President's powers, go through the processes I've described above. So this basically is my very simplified version how bills and motions get passed in the Singapore Parliament. For more details, do check out the parliamentary standing orders from the Singapore Parliament's website. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for tuning in.